Welcome you all in the presentation of floods and flood management, which is module 4 of subject water resource engineering and hydrology. I am Trupti Pandya from Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Technical Education and Research Center, Navsari. So this module having two parts. First part is floods and flood management, and second part is water resource planning and management. So in this video we will discuss about floods and flood management. In next video we will see water resource planning and management. Let's go through the contents. Indian rivers and floods, causes of flooding, flood control measures, flood damage analysis, and flood management. Now, let's start with the definition of flood. It is very simple and I can see universal definition. Any flow which is relatively high and which overtops the natural or artificial banks in any reach of a river may be called a flood. So, excess rainfall or any flow which high and overtop the river is known as flood. So, in rainy season, when heavy rain occur in the catchment, the flow of river is increased and it sometimes exceeds the normal capacity of river. So this surplus water overtops the banks of the river and submerge the surrounding areas consisting of village or agricultural land, etc. And this phenomena is known as flood. So the floods occur because of heavy rain or melting of snow or both, when the flow in the river is so high that its natural cross section is unable to contain it. Apart from the overflow of river, the flood may be caused by failure of some dam with a sudden release of huge amount of water causing considerable damage to life and property. So the natural reason of flood is heavy rain or melting of snow, and man-made reason may be a failure of dam. When the banks are overtopped, water sprayed over floodplain and thus cause damage to crops and properties within the floodplain of the river. Since the floodplain is a desirable location for man and his activity, it is important that floods be controlled so that damage does not exceed an acceptable limit. The damage caused by flood in terms of losses of life, property and economic loss due to disruption of economic activities are all too well known. So it is not to prevent flood, but it is possible to prevent or reduce the damages due to it. Thus, flood control or flood management is defined as the prevention or reduction of the flood damage. So these last 2 points are important in our discussion, that we cannot control or we cannot stop flood because it is natural phenomena. So we cannot control it. So we want to control the or prevent the damages in terms of life, property and economy. That's why this subject or this topic is included in engineering or hydrology, flood control, right? So thereby we can reduce the or we can prevent the losses, major losses caused by flood. And for that we introduced flood control measures and flood management in engineering terms or in engineering aspects. Now, so our next remaining portion is all about flood control and its management. Before that, let's briefly go through the situation in India or in Indian river. Topic is Indian rivers and floods. So India having many rivers, major, minor rivers, and they are divided into zone. So we will see this topic. So almost all rivers in India carry heavy flood during monsoon season, right? So due to mountainous terrain and undulating area, generally no overflow, because in mountainous terrains the ground slope is steep, so runoff water directly flow in downward direction, cannot stop, we cannot stop the or the flow, runoff flow or rainfall water, and the velocity of flow in the river is very high, right, in case of mountainous terrain. But in case of flat areas, the river overflow banks, because the runoff is very low, the velocity of flow in the river is very low, so in case of flat area the chances of flood is more, right? So in general the rivers are grouped into four category: Brahmaputra river region, Ganga river region, another portion is northern west region, and central India Deccan region, right? So whole our country according to that catchment area and the flow of river is divided like this. Let's see one by one. First, we will start with Brahmaputra region, one of the major river of India, which covered the state of Assam and West Bengal, Manipur, Tripura, Nagaland, likewise. The main river is Brahmaputra, and its tributaries like Tista, Tarsa, Jaldhaka, and Mahananda are the tributaries, but they are very large in dimension or size, right? And the rainfall range from 110 centimeter to 640 centimeter per year, and that this range of rainfall observed in June to September, and the flood frequency is very high. And due to this, the main problem in Brahmaputra region is overspills, drainage congestion, bank erosion, landslide, aggradation, and change in river course. So these are the major causes or the problem of flood occur in Brahmaputra region or the rivers and tributaries of Brahmaputra. So see, this is not to scale drawing, but the dark or the thick line represent the mainstream, and these thin lines are the tributaries. Again, these tributaries are not small, they are very large in size, right? So this dense river network cause flood in these regions. Next is Ganga, as we know, major river in India, and it flow or the cover the region of Uttarakhand, UP, Bihar, Himachal Pradesh, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Haryana, West Bengal, and Delhi. And its tributaries are Yamuna, Sona, Gomti, Gandak, Kosi, and Mahananda are the tributaries of Ganga, which itself one of the we can say main rivers of India, right? And the annual runoff varies large range. You can see that 60 centimeter in west part and about 175 in the eastern part, and in Himalayas region the variation may be 190, 125 to 190 centimeter. So more than 80% rainfall falls during normal monsoon season, right? And this rainfall consequently create flood in western east and from south to north region. This is one of the dense network of Ganga river basin. The main flood problem in the region are mostly confined to the northern tributaries, which bring lots of sediment, overspill the bank and change their course. course. So these are the main three points you have to remember. The reasons behind flooding is the sediment load. Sediment load we have already discussed in the video of reservoirs and dam topic. Sedimentation is the river carries silt and sand with the water flow, and ultimately the continuous sedimentation in the river section reduce the depth of river, the carrying capacity of river, and ultimately carrying capacity of reservoir get reduced. So the section become narrow. Rainfall, if heavy rainfall occur, then where the water goes, the water spill out from the bank and it flow into the surrounding areas, because the river section get decreased due to sedimentation. So due to sedimentation, the section get decreased, then the overspilling of water from the bank, second region. And third, change their course. Due to continuous sedimentation, the river flow changes its course or the flow path, which is not already there. So that changing path of the river may cause flood in the areas where we never expect that flood or the area gets submerged due to flood. So these three are the common factors of flooding: sedimentation, overspilling of bank, and change course of river. Next is northwest region. This region covers Jammu Kashmir, Punjab, part of Himachal Pradesh, Haryana and Rajasthan. And the main rivers in this region is Indus. Its tributaries like Satluj, Beas, Ravi, Chenab and Jhelum. And the rainfall variation from 175 centimeter to about 75 centimeter. Again, the range of rainfall variation is high, and in the rest of area the variation is 60 centimeter in east and only 15 centimeter in extreme western part of Rajasthan. So this is river network, we can say, of these rivers, and this terrain of this region is relatively mild, or we can say flat. So compared to Ganga and Brahmaputra river, the flood problem in this region are generally mild. Why? Because the amount of rainfall itself is low, right? And the river of Brahmaputra and Ganga the section is very large. The depth, the width and the flow carrying capacity of that both river is very high. So, and that region also the rainfall is more, so ultimately the flood problem arise many times in that Ganga and Brahmaputra river. And last is the central India Deccan region. This region covers states like Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Orissa, Maharashtra, Gujarat and part of Madhya Pradesh. And the main rivers are Narmada, Tapi, Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri. So this area receives its rainfall mainly during the southwest monsoon, and the rainfall during the southwest monsoon. So the coastal area of Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu receive northeast monsoon, and the annual range of rainfall is 150 centimeter, very high in Western Ghat, and in remaining area only 75 to 125 centimeter. So the central and Deccan region rivers are stables and having sufficient capacity to carry flood water, except in the delta areas. So this is our Deccan region, and these are the rivers which are stable in compared to Ganga and Brahmaputra river. So flood problem is major in eastern part and northern area, some northern area of India, we can say, right? So this is brief discussion about flood in India or in Indian river. Let's come back with our topic which we have uh, discussed in our second slide, that we cannot control flood but we can prevent the flood effects, right? So first we will discuss about the causes of flood, which are known actually to us, but let's go through fastly causes of flood and how to prevent or control the flood damages and different type of flood damage. So obviously the first cause or the factor is intensity of rainfall. So if we are discussing about rainfall, so rainfall having three terms: intensity, and duration and frequency, right? The intensity of rainfall in the catchment area is the main cause of flood, right? If the rainfall is normal, the storm duration is short, surface runoff will flow smoothly, and river not create any problem. But if the rainfall is heavy, the storm duration is longer, it increases the surface runoff, exceed the normal carrying capacity of a river, and hence overtopping of the river banks may occur and surrounding area may get flooded. So this is how flooding occurs for any reason, So intensity is high. If the rainfall intensity high, duration is longer, then flood occurs. Second, topography, the terrain. Terrain include the size of catchment. If size of the catchment is more, chances of flood will be more. Second, the terrain. Steep slope, increased runoff, increased sedimentation due to high velocity, and flatter slope. If the slope is flat or the terrain is flat, it reduce runoff, reduce velocity, reduce sedimentation. Clear? So topography, this topography of catchment means the slope of ground. So if steep ground, the sedimentation problem is more, flat ground sedimentation problem is less. Second, the shape of the basin. For a fan shape, like sprayed catchment, time of concentration is less and base period is less, the peak flow will be more. The shape depends whether it is fan shape or fern shape, right? So based on that, if the elongated shape of the catchment, the time of concentration will be more, chances of flooding is less. Thus, the storm hydrograph base period will be more and peak flow will be comparatively less. Thus, the size, slope and shape of catchment are directly affect the flow of the river. So in topography, we have to discuss about two things. First, the slope of the ground, steep or flat, and second, the shape of the catchment area or basin. Third cause of floods is sedimentation of river and reservoir, which we have already briefly explained in previous slide. So reduction in flood control capacity of reservoir due to unabated heavy silting up will affect the flow of river. So if the tributaries carry heavy sedimentation, load river Bed goes on silting gradually every year, and it reduces the carrying capacity of the river, and ultimately the cross section of river will be decreased or shallow, and the river will not be able to carry high flood water, right? Next, obstruction in the river flow. This is man-made phenomena, right? Where there is a heavy landslide. Okay, this is another obstruction, maybe of two types: natural obstruction like landslide, right, and man-made obstructions like this construction of or contraction of river section. So if heavy landslide occurs which cause directly flood on its upstream side, because it stops the river flow or reduce the cross section, and thereby the rainfall water spill out from the banks, right? Water pressure reaches maximum value, right, due to sudden obstruction, right, and thereby the area may get flooded. Then this again I can consider the contraction of river section as obstruction, like inadequate waterway due to construction of road and rail bridge. Then we are conforming the banks of the river by constructing abutments. So calculation is always there, that there should be a minimum thickness of the piers, and we have to provide some fixed value for the waterway. It should not be decreased highly. So while constructing a road and railway bridge, the approach work reduce the cross section of river, and second, the construction of piers may not be sufficient for outlet of the high flood flow. Then the upstream side portion may get flooded because we obstruct the flow, and thereby we can we reduce the cross section of the river, and then the extra flood water may be spill out and the area get flooded. Next, inadequate cross drainage work. CD works are constructed for or which provide path for the water at the crossing, right? So that CD work reduce the flow, depth of flow for the high flood flow. The cross drainage work like aqueduct and river pass below the canal. Here the structure which is constructed for the smooth running of the river flow may be inadequate for high flood water. So calculations are always made for maximum flood carrying capacity of that structure. So we can reduce the damages due to, or we can reduce the losses of life due to such type of event. So these are the major causes like rainfall and catchment area, like topography, obstructions, natural obstruction like landslide, man-made obstruction are like construction of piers and abutments and CD works. So proper work, if proper construction work and proper calculations have been done, then there may not be any problem due to this. But if we are not considering the past flood data, it may cause damage due to heavy flood. Now, other causes are flood may be caused due to heavy melting of snow and ice, right? Breach of a dam, the reservoir water may rush towards the downstream side, causing heavy flood for a short period. Sometimes because of earthquake happen, it may raise the river bed. This may cause flood on the upstream due to arrest of flow, as well as on the downstream for some distance for a short period. These are the sudden reasons which are not in our hand, which may cause flood. So these are the reasons. We cannot control them. So, how we will control the flood or to prevent the damages? By constructing some structures. Means through technology and engineering application, we will try to control the flood damage. Let's see one by one. So various methods are there to reduce flood damage, and they are classified into two ways: structural measures and non-structural measure. Flood control is the most important topic for this chapter. Very interesting topic, simple and easy topic, but exam point of view, this is the most important topic: flood control measures. Let's see one by one. First we will discuss about the structural members and then non-structural members. Now, what is the aim? The only aim is to stabilize, or we can say prevent, more or less prevent the damages. Let's see that what another aim is: modify the flood, modify the accessibility of the flood damage, modify the loss of burden and bearing the loss or living with floods, avoiding damage from flood by construction of protective works through the reduction of flood flow by storage, changing in land use or similar methods, by modifying the accessibility to flood damage, susceptibility to flood damage, and by soil concentration in catchment area. Right, these are the aims. Let's start with structural measures, or we can say structural mitigations measures, or we can say structural flood control measures. So there are following types. So first structural measures is very simple and well known: construction of reservoir. What is the function of reservoir? A reservoir is an artificial lake which store huge amount of water. So if we construct a huge reservoir, so we can store the excess flood water and thereby we can reduce the losses. So that special purpose reservoir is known as storage reservoir or flood control reservoir, right? So our first structural mitigation measure is construction of reservoir. So storage reservoir is the most effective measures for flood control. The modern reservoir are mostly okay, and that the main benefit is that stored water can be used for multiple purpose, right? So this is one I can say for example point of view. This is a real image of huge or large reservoir, right, which store water in huge quantity. So except flood period, that stored water is used for multiple purposes served, and at the time of flood it store the flood water. Okay. The second is if the regions like Brahmaputra and Ganga regions, the dams are constructed specially for flood control, and thereby the reservoir created is known as flood control reservoirs. So frequently flooded area are or can be protected by constructing flood control reservoirs like detention reservoirs and retarding reservoirs. Let's see, we have already discussed these two types of reservoir in module 3, reservoirs and dams. This detention reservoir, the spillway with adjustable gates are provided, so the flood water may be detained for some times and then released according to situations at the downstream by operation of gate. Please remember, detention reservoirs are gated structure. Spillway with gates, it stored water and gradually released according to situation. while retarding reservoir having spillway air provided with a dam at such a level and capacity so that flood discharge is retarded, and it takes long time for the flood water to flow completely towards the downstream. So discharge the discharge stops when the water level falls below the crest of the spillway. So the major difference between detention and retarding reservoir is detention reservoir uh, having spillway with gates, and it stores the water, flood water, while retarding reservoir is created with non-gated spillway. So when the water level rise up from the crest, it that the flow is uncontrolled, and the water from the spillway overtop and flowing downstream parallelly, and the discharge stop when the water level falls below crest level. So better control in detention reservoir at the time of flood, while the water control is almost, say, we can negligible, we cannot stop water in case of high flood, in case of retarding reservoir. These two are flood control reservoirs, like this, right? Confining river flow by embankments. It is known as levees. Earthen embankments have been the principal methods of controlling flood as a short-term measure. The levees are earthen embankments constructed parallel to the river bank to continue the river water within specified section. So at the sides of the banks, the embankment are constructed to increase the cross section. Thus, the surrounding area may be protected from being flooded with surplus water which flow through river during heavy rainfall. So, this is one of the example imaginary by constructed by conform the form the cross section of the rivers. Second is channel improvement work. So work permitted to increase the discharge or the velocity, right, of stream and decrease the stage and duration of flood. It include increase the size of cross section, means widening and excavation of stream bed, increase the velocity of channel by smoothing the river bed and sides. So this is one image of channel improvement work. Diversion works. From the upstream side of the flood affected area, a diversion channel is excavated to connect the river at the downstream area. So diversion channel with a regulator upstream of the important area is constructed, which collect the excess flood water. So this is diversion channel image. Flood wall. When no space is available for the construction of levees like embankment, because embankment bed width is very large, right? So if space is not available, wall is constructed, right, as local flood hazard prevention for some important areas, or we can say low lying areas. So masonry or concrete walls constructed just on the river bank. These are trapezoidal in section and act as a retaining walls, like this. A simple example of flood wall. Floodways. The low-lying areas along the course of the river are known as floodways, low-lying area. Floodway are the vast depression into which a portion of flood water can be diverted from the river, and it temporarily stored the flood water during the rising flood condition, and thereby we can reduce the uh, water in the river, and that flood water return back to the river. This type of arrangement is made. The floodway is ordinarily used only during major flood, and the flood may be used for agriculture at other time. So that land is used as agricultural land in winter and summer season. Like this, it temporarily stored the flood water, and then that water may be diverted into the river bank. Construction of cutoff. In case of sharp bends in the course of river, the velocity of flow and discharge is reduced. So during heavy rainfall, the large flood discharge approaches the sharp bend of the river, it overflows its bank and submerge the surrounding area. So cutoff may be constructed in the meandering type of river to reduce the travel time, and water can flow with high velocity along straight path. So this is meandering river, and these are the cutoffs, right? So at this section, curved section, the velocity is low, get reduced due to the curvature, and which may overflow the flood water. So what is the aim? We have to, or we want to provide a straight path, right? So that straight path increase the flow velocity, and water or the flood water can quickly flow from this portion. Runoff reduction by watershed management, it is an indirect method, we can say, right, to decrease the flood damage. And the different watershed management are afforestation, contour farming, contour burns, check burns, gullying, bank protection, diversion drains, and strip cropping are the different watershed management techniques to reduce the flood damage. So these are the structural methods. In detail, in next video we will discuss in detail about the levees and flood walls and channel improvement work and non-structural mitigation measures. So see you in the next video. I will stop this portion over here. Thank you.